dogs.
Oh, okay, I'm farther by.
So they were down there, so Nelson came over, and then he called, saying, we're trying to play you money, and he's talking to him. I said, hey, don't talk to him. Well, he was bitching about some guy blocking a ditch or something.
Well, here's the problem, it's the dogs called under natural. We clean that ditch, but it's only gonna run, and we haven't cleaned it this year. We cleaned that ditch before, all the way out to the street.
Yeah.
It's only gonna run if the box culvert is gonna match. If the box culvert is gonna match, it's full.
The county ain't gonna say that.
And I'm not gonna, why am I gonna fix it?
Did you tell Nelson to call the guy?
Definitely
Yeah,
minimize.
can't you call them? I call them, they don't wanna hear from me.
Yeah, they had the guy in there.
All right. Anyhow, your name came up. I can't even have a drink without your name.
The water, they saw like a really high tech.
Good job, Ron.
What?
I try.
I know we got. I was trying to play you from that green. Oh, yeah, I got all segments in my ear.
Well, you'll never forget him.
I'm running for my life is what I'm running.
Hey, Paul, did you talk to Ed?
Yeah, we're all set. He said, go ahead and buy it. He said, go ahead and buy it.
No, did he tell you what we have to do?
Yeah, she's plugging it in.
Hi, Doc. Happy New Year. I didn't get to congratulate you yesterday.
Pardon me?
I didn't get to congratulate you
No, I had a couple of
yesterday.
congratulations. For what?
Well, your supervisor again. You know I sound quiet.
Hey, Phil.
But, hi. You started up the one previous conversation.
Yeah, we don't have too many problems here.
No, that's not
Some of the other towns, they got issues all the time. The first thing he did was put the dirt in there, and over his swipe. You gotta clean that up. We are, we're just in the possibility, you gotta clean it up, and he screwed this up, all of it, that's all we do. Yeah, no, I get it.
Did you see it?
No, I didn't.
Just a good picture. I don't think you have that. You got to figure out the right brother. I mean, I said about you dating one brother-in-law. You don't have good facial
Today I. I'm sorry today. Nothing for Oh, Chuck Richards?
Yeah.
He's still working. I asked if he was leaving, he says, his wife, I graduated. Yeah, yep,
Yes.
went to school.
Yes.
Yeah, it's. Yeah, I think they actually get the 20 hours. Yeah, it was true. Yeah, he was a rabbit.
Welcome to the January 2nd town board meeting, our first town board meeting of the year. We all rise to pledge allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, we pray you grant wisdom to all who are in authority, that order and justice may be upheld for the benefit of all citizens, and guide us to better serve the people of our community. Restrain those who seek to destroy our government. We ask your divine wisdom to rest upon our leaders, guide them and protect them. Amen.
For the record, and all board members present, any 2023, for our town board meeting. Can I have a motion, please? Second. And a second, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Minutes are approved. Excuse me. Approval of bill payment of January 2nd, 2024, voucher number 2023-2175 through 2023-2235, with a total amount of $356,884.87. Can I have a motion, please? Second. And a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Approved. Bills are paid. Department heads, Paul Sigmund.
Just a reminder, no parking on the streets. We haven't said nothing because we haven't had much winter, but winter's gonna start here coming pretty soon. I'm gonna start asking the constables to start writing tickets. We are having some cars, same people every year that park where they're not supposed to, but that's one of them. I do have a question for Don. Did you hear anything, and I forgot to ask you this before, anything more about that street, Center Street over at Love Canal?
I haven't heard what, anybody else? No.
Okay.
Well, I got a question. I went through Burkle's on, for a party on New Year's Eve. Where do we ever stand on that bridge at Mount Street by Sean Shot there? Is that gonna stay like that forever, or where?
I had heard rumors beginning of this year, and I guess they're only rumors. I wish our legislator was here, we could ask him. I believe the county said they are gonna replace it.
Oh, they did.
Yeah.
I think they found COVID money or something for it, and I think they are gonna replace it.
Okay. That's all.
So,
We'll ask in 2 weeks.
well, that was an easy one.
When they say, you have no answer, but we'll ask it.
Well, it's not my bridge, so I can't really answer for
I
you,
just
but,
wonder if you heard what you heard.
yeah, that's all I've heard. Anything else?
No, the only thing, Paul, when I talked today, we had a little meeting in the office, Paul had mentioned that the building permit fee was paid for Amazon or that property for $1.some million. So I think I better follow up that letter to the county related to the signals, because we got the same stuff.
Permit fees were paid to Town and Ag, $1.5 million.
Yeah. So
Now, that's the owner of the property, that's not Amazon, but you know, they got shell companies and everything that do all that stuff, but if they paid all $1.5 million, I got a feeling something's gonna happen.
Yeah, so, I mean, just to be, I think, just to be on the safe side, I'll send that letter out, we have a copy of you guys.
We did get our new mower, I forgot about that, we got our new mower. Unfortunately, we won't be using it for a little bit, actually, we're gonna try if the weather stays nice to do a couple things with it. And our next plow truck, I'm hoping is gonna be delivered this week sometime. Probably won't get put on the road for another week or two, but they started getting everything ready for it today.
Okay. Thank you, Paul. Mark, water sewer.
I have no report tonight, unless anybody has any questions for me.
Anybody have any remarks on that? Thank you, Mark. Mike Rinaldi is excused, Mike Clark is sick, and Kelly also was excused tonight. Constables have anything tonight?
No report.
No report. Kind of early in the year.
Yeah, we'll do it with motions.
And, motions, Matt Brooks. Well, he's got a report, I think, part of the report.
All I have is the two.
Yeah. Okay, so you want to do a report?
Actually, as a quick precursor, I was going to let the board know that we did finish the emergency response plan, cybersecurity plan, and the vulnerability assessments that we had that last minute authorization at the end of November, early December to do. Those were delivered to the health department last Thursday. So everything's in and made it before the end of the year deadline. As far as our agenda goes, we really just have the same things that were on our last agenda. I know they were kind of rushed because we had just received the agreement paperwork from the DOT. But we basically have our two agreements on here. The first one is the municipal agreement. So this is the agreement for the Plaza Drive Bridge New York project. This is the agreement between the DOT and the town. Basically, the town is agreeing to cover the cost of the fees as they come in throughout design and construction, and then submit for 95% reimbursement from It's actually from the federal government through the state. So that was our first thing on our agenda. The second one is our contract authorization, basically for Wendell to proceed with the design and bidding for the Plaza Drive Bridge Replacement Project. That has several different phases to it. They were detailed out in our proposal. But if there's any questions on that, I can certainly go through those really quickly.
Will that include overseeing the job? The fee that you're gonna charge?
The fee that's in here is only for design and for bidding.
Not nothing once it gets going.
There will be subsequent authorization for construction inspection and the right-of-way acquisition. We just.
That'll be on top of what your fee is now.
Yes, yes, and that's been itemized in the original grant application that we did for the Bridge New York grant in the first place to get it. That was all detailed and spelled out in our, the IPP, the initial project proposal that we did in October, November, this past fall. And these numbers continue to be the same. They're, the contracts are big and long. You see, some of them are 40 pages, and that's because these are all DOT contracts. They have to be in this format or they won't be accepted and approved by the state comptroller. So it's not your normal 4 or 5 page Wendell proposal that you're used to, because we have no choice. We have to follow the DOT's procedures, which means we also have to follow all of their reporting procedures as the project goes on. That includes every design report that's done through this has to get submitted to the DOT and reviewed by them, comments picked up before it's finalized and accepted before we can move on to the next phases. So with projects like these, there is a pretty big DOT factor on the time involved.
So we're paying 95% of the 528,000, what you're selling?
You're paying 5%.
5%.
Yes, 95% will be reimbursed.
And then we're gonna go out to bid, once you have design, and that is additionally gonna be 95% paid by the state up to a certain amount?
Yes, sir. Yeah, the total project cost is 2.4 million. The reimbursable amount is like 2.299 million. The amount that the town, the 5% that the town will ultimately be responsible for is 121,000 out of the basically $2.5 million.
That might be 25.
Yes, it's gonna go through all the design projects, throughout all the design process throughout the summer and fall next year, and bid to be for construction for 2025.
When do we think this launch will start? Just the rest of it?
What, the construction or the design? I'll tell you exactly, because we have those things itemized in here. So it's a let date that says in October of 2025. So that's basically when construction would start from our initial estimates. So possibly it could go sooner than that as we get through the design reports. But as far as, first steps, we have survey that has to get out there. We've got the environmental work, we've got the hydraulic work that needs to be done. And actually out of that authorization for Wendell, there was an attachment C that was to that agreement. There is close to $150,000 of that total of 528 is all for direct non-salary costs. That's geotechnical evaluation. That's the right-of-way professionals doing the right-of-way research and preparing the right-of-way documents. There's kiosks for doing the environmental work and the survey work, and there's another sub for hydraulics and structural work. Some of those are required to meet our disadvantaged business owner requirements for the project, which I believe is around 17%. So that's why you don't see Wendell doing everything on this project. So there's a significant amount of sub-consulting work goes on.
Say that this project went along and some unforeseen stuff come up, and there had to be change orders, would we still only be responsible for 5% of what it costs? Or would we have to pay for them too?
If it was over the total project cost of $2.42 million, the town would be on the hook for 100% of anything extra from that.
Just let's say something does come up, like we had with the Boulevard project. Obviously, I would hope that we would be notified ahead of time that there is going to be change orders or change issues or something.
We're going to be monitoring this project, doing construction inspection on it closely. And, you know, the DOT requires monthly reporting on project status and costs and everything. So it's not something that's just going to get started and forgotten about until the crisis comes up. So yes, we should have an
If you look
idea.
at the Niagara Falls Boulevard project, it's been held up for months, it's way behind schedule. It's very disappointing. One of the big issues was Verizon wasn't prepared to relocate their utilities, help everybody out. And then, of course, we had the contaminated soils at the corridor, which also held them for a long period of time, further testing, removal of the soil, testing again. So that held up for, what do you got?
And isn't there a 20 to 30% contingency figured in that budget?
I'm sorry?
I'm just asking Tim, I think there's a 20 or 30% contingency for unanticipated costs. I think it's built into that overall project cost.
Anything the overall project?
Yeah, there's a 20% contingency on our original estimate that we actually got the grant from. It's actually what the DOT requires you to build in there for unknowns like this. So there's also a good chance that this project will come in less.
Under?
Sure.
You ever seen it?
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
Let's hope it continues to happen because thankfully this is not in a very congested location, right? So there's not a lot of hindrances when they get in there and start working.
I imagine that bridge is going to be shut right down.
Oh, sure, yeah. It's not one that would be easily phased lane by lane when they're putting big concrete arch spans into there. But, you know, the detour around that is not very significant, so.
So the town will have to front this money now, and then we will be reimbursed until the project completes, right?
No. As the project goes in and pay applications come into the town will pay those, and as soon as they're paid, we turn around and submit those for reimbursement from the DOT. So it's gonna be, you know, there may be a 2-month maybe lag between when they're actually paying that out and when we get the reimbursement back. We've pushed the DOT hard on that because in the past they have
That's what I was worried about.
been known to take time, and they've assured us that they've actually, a lot of their reimbursement requests are digital and online now, so a lot of the slowdown that we saw in the past is because you're sending in multiple copies of packets of paper, and they go to 7 different people, and, you know, it gets confused that way, but now it's all done digitally online. We're hoping it goes much faster.
Anything else?
No, that's all right. Thank you.
Okay, Matt Flores, motions.
The first motion, was, the first motion is not in the motion package that came to our attention after, but it is with regard to the project Tim talked about, the bond resolution for the town. And I think as you review this and forward it on to me as well, it came from our bond council. So it's entitled Bond Resolution of the Town Board of the Town of Wheatfield, Iron County, New York, the town authorizing the town to undertake a bridge reconstruction project, stating the maximum estimated cost therefore is $2,900,000, appropriating said amount therefore, and authorizing the issuance of up to $2,900,000 in serial bonds of the town to finance said appropriation. And the rest of the as presented in the supplemental motion.
Motion, guys.
So moved.
Second.
And a second, all in favor?
Question though, because we have another motion saying 2.4 million, 2,420,800. The other motion, this one says 2.9. Did those numbers have to match?
I believe no. They do not have to match.
Okay.
I purposely added a 20% contingency to the bond resolution so that if the costs are higher than what was originally anticipated, you don't have to go back to the bond attorney to increase the bond.
I just want to make sure we're not shortchanging
No,
ourselves.
we're just
So
really
thus-
giving ourselves a cushion.
Okay.
That's the 2.9.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Ed.
We have a motion for the second.
I agree.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, then going to the motion package, Wendell, motion to authorize Wendell to provide design bidding services for the Plaza Drive Bridge replacement project in accordance with Wendell's letter dated December 18, 2023, and associated contract documents for a lump sum fee of $528,860. The Christian North Rank will provide 95% reimbursement of the project costs to the town.
Second.
And a second, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Next motion, resolve to authorize a change order with Parkville Building Systems for a change order in the amount of $1,400 for additional site work and stone needed for the town hall complex.
Let me just explain why that additional cost. I think I talked to a couple fellows about it, but when they were doing the foundations on our new storage building, they had huge pieces of concrete and inch and a quarter of rebar, and it was a mess. So instead of the holes being 16 inches, they were 4 feet. So rather than stop the job, they brought more stone and compacted it, and we covered the cost. So that's where the $1,400 came. So we have a motion, please? Second. And a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Next motion from Highway Department and Town Board, resolve to amend past dedication resolution of November 7th, 2022, and to amend the past dedication resolution of June 5th, 2023, to add road names to said dedicated roads as follows, and the italicized portions are being added to amendments. So the November 7th, 2022 motion that was moved by Councilman Helwig and seconded by Councilman Retzlaff goes now as follows: resolved to accept the road dedication for the final portions of Ontario Drive and Berkshire Drive, drainage easements, temporary turnaround easements, and temporary turnaround easement releases associated with Phase 7 of the Timberlake subdivision. And the June 5th, 2023 motion that was moved by Councilman Doctor and seconded by Supervisor Swan, and go as follows: resolved to accept the road dedication for the entire portion of Squire Drive and Piedmont Street, drainage easements and sanitary sewer easements associated with the Wilson Street subdivision. So these motions just added street names, which Paul indicated state was required.
In order for our state CHIPS reimbursement, we were dedicating whole subdivisions or phases of subdivisions, and we have to specifically name the roads and the section of roads that are being dedicated in order for them to reimburse us for our CHIPS and give us credit for the road on the report.
Thank you, Paul. Let me make a motion. Second. And second, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Next motion from assessor and a town attorney, resolve to approve and authorize the town attorney to sign and execute the consent order in the tax assessment case of Summit Outlet LP versus the town of Wheatfield et al.
So moved.
Second. And a second, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Next motion in the package, from the town board, and it begins Bridge New York resolution by the town of Wheatfield, 2022 New York Bridge project funded with DFP office system locally administered, authorizing the implementation and funding of the cost of the transportation project, which may be eligible for federal aid and or state aid reimbursement from disbursement of funds. And that the rest of that is presented in the motion package, and this was requested by the, state for, the town to move forward with that project. We will be sending a copy of this approved motion to the state.
What's different from this, what we just passed?
Well, we had the bond resolution, that's the bond, this is an agreement with the state, that they require so that they can reimburse us.
All right, I think I got one further point. The first motion said 95%, is what we're getting reimbursed. This motion says we're responsible for 100%, but there's no 95 in this. Do we need?
And I think, no, this motion, we really have to pass it as is. This was prepared by the state.
Okay,
So-
so we're still entitled to the 95% reimbursement, even though this doesn't say.
Yeah,
Correct.
Yeah, Larry, this says that you're agreeing to pay 100% of the bills when they come in.
Okay.
But then, with the understanding that qualified costs are all federally reimbursed. Just to say the 95%.
More comfortable when we see it in writing.
That would be nice, but the state doesn't do it. They don't care about our taxes.
So moved. And a second, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Next, there was a supplemental motion from the Town Board and Water Sewer Department. Resolved to appoint Timothy M. Demeter as the new Deputy Superintendent of the Water Sewer Department, effective, and we're changing this to January 15th, 2024.
So moved.
Second.
And a second, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
And then one, final supplemental motion from the Building Department, resolved to approve the request of Mike Clark, Building Inspector, to increase, Building Department fees in the town of Wheatfield on the attached list, effective January 1st, 2024.
So moved.
And a second, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
All I have for motion.
Thank you, Tom. Board members. Larry Howard.
Just one question. I know we appointed Ed Meingold budget director. Thanks for all your work in the past and in the short future here, Ed. But my question is, Paul is gonna be taking over, but we appointed Ed. Do we need a motion to appoint Paul? Because we already hired Paul as a temporary budget director. Do we
He
have
is a part-time employee with him, so
So-
I think when the time comes, when he's eligible for benefits, then we can probably move on. Okay.
You know, what's gonna happen is I'm gonna have to submit a letter of resignation around June 30th. And at that point in time, you would actually appoint Paul as the budget director.
So he's still working, like part-time? now?
Part-time on hourly basis, I'm paid on a salary basis.
Okay, good. Thank you.
That's gonna change his mind anyways.
Smart you all.
You don't wanna count ours?
Or somebody's gonna need you to control.
We give you a pen, maybe.
Yeah.
No.
We are, but that's even more. That was a tax issue.
That's all I have, thank you.
Thanks, Larry. Bill?
I don't have anything tonight,
Kurt? Nothing. Thank you, Kurt. Randy Russell?
I have nothing.
And I have no report. Public input, anyone? Tom, David?
No, I do not. The veterans will meet, I believe it's the 16th of this month, that's the first meeting of the month, we'll reconnoiter, and,
Working later?
yeah, we'll proceed from there. Through something new,
Yeah, thank you. And it's not here, did you see the building out of the interior?
Yes, I was there today, I'll be there tomorrow morning.
Looks great, doesn't it? Next meeting is January 22nd at 7 o'clock. Need a motion to adjourn.
Second.
And a second, all in favor, signify by saying aye. We are adjourned. Have a healthy and happy New Year, everyone.
What did I do now?
Yeah, to door for Richie
Yeah.
in February, yes.
Oh, nice.
It's a wild ride.
Is it?
It's a wild ride, to say the least. To say the least. But yeah, it's a good job.
Yeah.
It's a good job. I've worked many other places. It's a good job. Good job. Where else did I work?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a list of things.
Oh.
Right. Oh, yeah? Who's that? I know Dan Zano. Dave Kaplan out there. Dan was sick there for a second, right? He had time off. Yeah. I know. I heard Zano, yeah. Dan Zano. Yeah, I'm not sure. Dan. He's a good guy.
It would be nice.